Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all able to hear me. I'm just hearing myself. Let me see if I can. Tomorrow I'm continuing. Today I'm continuing with the series. I had already told you yesterday. I had started a few days back the December current affairs series. So I can hear my voice on that note. Yes, welcome Abhishek. Great to have you here. Yes. Right. So on that note, let me begin. December current affairs. I had done one session a couple of days back. I think it was on Tuesday. Today I'm doing the second of the four-part series. There'll be two more classes, maybe three, depending on the requirements, because some of the months have more content. The closer we appear to all your examinations, the amount of content obviously increases. Right. But before I begin anything else, I would like to introduce you guys to a couple of really attractive offers for these 2 days. Yes, today and tomorrow we have what we call extra time extra savings. So you can buy now, you can use this code save 60 as is mentioned on the card, and then you will receive a green card for all competitive exams. This gives you a flat 30% off and an extra 30% off with double validity. तो इसको और जानने के लिए आप इस नंबर पे कॉल कर सकते हैं जो नीचे प्रोवाइडेड है 9650052904। यहाँ पे कॉल कीजिए, हमारे जो काउंसलर है दे विल बी वेरी हैप्पी टू address your queries. Right, Abhishek. Yes, good morning. Absolutely. Good morning to you as well. So, these are the offers for the day. You must definitely avail some of these. Right. So, on that note, let me begin with the actual content. So, beginning with the December current affairs. Couple of things here. So, first of all, something to do with the army head of the country. He is General Manoj Mukund Naravane. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He made a recent visit to two countries. It's the first visit by an army chief in an official position. Some of them may have made private visits. That's a totally separate matter. A lot of people do visit Dubai, but first time in the position of an army chief, he visited these two countries, and these two are very important for India on a number of in a number of ways. One, of course, is the fact that there is a massive Indian diaspora in these countries. I think numbering a few millions. If you combine UAE and Saudi, there will be around, I don't have an exact figure, but pre-COVID, there would have been around 3 to 4 million people of Indian origin. The number may have reduced a bit now because many people did come back, but generally speaking, that is the average number. Another thing why which these two countries are so important to us is trade, because obviously some of you would be aware, one of the major areas that we import in is crude oil. So Saudi Arabia is in fact the fourth biggest trading partner of for India. So, and most of it is imports. We do export a few things, but mostly it is imports. China, USA, and Japan are the top three countries. With Saudi, it is almost a single-handed relation of crude oil because that is something we do lack. Right, Abhishek? Swastik, have you joined? Do confirm on the YouTube chat window. Something really interesting has taken place, a new progress in the state of Assam, the northeast of India. The city of Guwahati, which is actually the biggest in that state, has opened a human milk bank. You know, we've heard of sperm banks, we've heard of blood banks, and of course, we know there are milk banks and in different animals like cows. But this is human breast milk has been captured here, stored here, because the belief doctors have understood over a period of time that there's nothing as nutritious for a baby as human milk is. I mean, how much cow's milk you give, it is a human milk that a human baby requires the most. So that is why this wonderful step has been taken. Do let me know if you guys have any questions, any doubts from all these topics that we do. Right, continuing further. Uh, Now, there is this new scheme which has been established in India. Government schemes are very important. You get a lot of questions from various government schemes, especially central government schemes. Not so much from state government schemes. Sometimes state government schemes are important in case they get used up nationally. You know, there are some state schemes which are then adopted nationally. For example, even the midday meal scheme started in the Madras state. You know, so later on it was implemented all over India. There are some schemes from the governments of West Bengal and Telangana which have received international awards. So again, in that case, it becomes important. But by and large, it It is the state government, it is the national government schemes that are important. And this is a new one called the PM Wani, which is to provide Wi-Fi availability across the country. And Wani का full form देख लीजिए, wireless access network interface. Right, wireless access network interface, that is the full form, if I may. ठीक है, let's continue then. Have you seen this? Yes, welcome Swastik, great to have you here. Swastik and Abhishek, that's a decent crowd we have. Let's continue further. Okay, now the government of India has announced to start 1,000 Khelo India small centers to encourage sports culture in the country. What is Khelo India? This is obviously, as the name suggests, this is facilities to improve the it's sports facilities so that young people can participate, can train. There are also open fields where anybody can go and play. Plus, you have other coaching centers where specific coaching is given to the best of the lot. Right. Also, I wanted to ask you guys, do you know who is the sports minister of India? He's a member of parliament from the northeast of India. That is the hint I'm giving you. He has earlier been the minister of state for home affairs. But yeah, let me see if you can answer this. The sports minister of India. He's an MP from the northeast of India. Right. I am waiting for the answer. If anybody has the answer, sports minister of India. And I've given you ample hints for this. Very good, excellent, Swastik. Very happy to see your answer. He's a BJP MP from Arunachal Pradesh. I think he has been 3 times MP, 2004, 2014, and now 19. 3 times. Right? He's one of the stalwarts of the BJP in the Northeast. Right, let's continue further. December current affairs. Okay, now there's the International Human Rights Day. This is, please note down the word I've used. I've used the word commemorated, not celebrated, because this is a somber occasion, so we don't celebrate. It's not something you go out dancing. So this day is commemorated across the globe every year on the 10th of December. This year's theme is important. So this is static GK क्योंकि हर साल होता है, मगर इस साल का आपको थीम जानना है. थीम वाले क्वेश्चंस बहुत रेयरली पूछे जाते हैं, बट कभी कभी पूछे जाते हैं. सो बेस्ट इज टू कवर इट कंप्लीटली. सो ऑब्वियसली दिस ईयर देयर हैड टू बी समथिंग टू डू विथ रिकवरी. So many human beings have suffered this year, and during the pandemic we saw human rights further belittled worldwide. We saw poorer people who suffered the maximum in the country. We also saw women suffering inside the households during the lockdowns. So recover better, stand up for human rights. That's the theme for the year. Yeah, I can see decent participation today on YouTube. I've seen somebody else has also joined the session. Great to have that. Guys, do spread the word. Tell among your friends, among your batchmates about the sessions. It can help you not just for BBA but also for CLAT and various other exams, hotel management, mass Right. So this is done in partnership with Skylo, which is set to produce the world's. I think the slide is sort of missing, but I'll get back to you guys. Okay, I'm sorry for the embarrassment here. I'll get back to you on this in tomorrow. In the next class I can conduct on December current affairs. This topic I will continue further. For now, let us just understand this point. There's something called Internet of Things. Internet of Things and also BSNL. BSNL is actually it's BSNL. BSNL in partnership with Skylo. So yeah, I got the answer. I have saved myself from embarrassment. BSNL in partnership with Skylo is set to introduce the world's first satellite-based narrowband IoT network in India. We have broadband, we also have narrowband, which is satellite-based. Skylo is a company which handles IoT. Now, what is IoT? BSNL का full form मैंने share कर दिया है. Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. There's also VSNL, which is Videsh Sanchar, and MTNL, which is Mahanagar Telecom Nigam Limited. Right? Now, what is IoT? Can somebody explain to me if you have any idea? Yes, yes. Say hi, everyone. Abhishek has a very good idea. Do say hi. Let me see if somebody can explain what is IoT. Also, if you do not know something, please feel free to say that I do not know. I will be extremely happy to help you in that regard. All right, you keep giving me the answers. In the meanwhile, I'll move ahead with some more miscellaneous content. We've done a lot on Abraham Accords. I hope you remember all our Abraham Accords discussions. So you know, UAE, Bahrain, and Sudan were the first three to normalize relations with Israel. But now the fourth country has emerged. That is Morocco. Do you know where is Morocco located in? Please tell me the location of both Morocco and Sudan. They are both located on the same continent in the same region. There's one particular desert which is extremely prominent in these two countries, prominent in the lives of these two countries. So please tell me, where are they located in? I've discussed in detail in the past about Abraham Accords, so I hope you are all well versed with it. If you still have any doubts, do see my previous sessions. In brief, I have already given you in this slide, normalizing relations with Israel. Meanwhile, the Reserve Bank of India has announced that the RTGS facility will now be available 24 hours a day. That was not the case prior to this. RTGS का full form मैंने share कर दिया है, Real Time Gross Settlement. Okay, no problem, Akshay and Swastik. IoT क्या है? Internet of Things is basically a combination of thousands, millions, or for that matter, billions of devices connected together all over the world. Forget the world. मैं अगर अपने घर की बात करूँ, in case I have a smart TV and a smart refrigerator, and of course we have a couple of smartphones. If all these devices are connected, and of course the air conditioner, I can actually order these devices to do as per my wishes. तो मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ, मैं चाहता हूँ मेरे फ्रिज का टेम्परेचर थोड़ा कम हो जाए, थोड़ा बढ़ जाए, बिकॉज इट्स टू कोल्ड राइट नाउ, आई नीड टू गेट इट डिफ्रॉस्टेड. सो व्हाट विल आई डू इज, मैं अपने मोबाइल पे मोबाइल में के साथ फ्रिज कनेक्टेड है, तो फ्रिज का मैं टेम्परेचर बढ़ा दूंगा या कम कर दूंगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट आई वांट. आई कुड हैव वेरियस other devices which are connected, and that way I can handle everything थ्रू माई वन मोबाइल फोन. ठीक है, तो इसको कहते हैं इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स. ऑल दीज डिफरेंट आइटम्स इन आर हाउस होल्ड दे आर कनेक्टेड. दिस इज अ वेरी स्मॉल माइक्रो basis, but on a macro basis there could be millions. In fact, at this point there are more than 2 billion devices connected worldwide in what is the global IoT. In fact, there is a Gartner study. Gartner is one of the world's top research companies. Gartner ka study please dekh lena. They have commissioned something really important to this end. ठीक है, so that is the IoT, Internet of Things. It also has a lot of dangers, lot of privacy issues, because अभी क्या है, मैं कब एसी ऑन कर रहा हूँ, कब फ्रिज खोल रहा हूँ, वो आपको और बाहर के लोगों को नहीं मालूम. लेकिन the moment it is digitally connected, somebody at the digital this thing will get to know. Nobody is interested in me per se, but millions of people like me, when they operate their television or the air conditioner or the refrigerator, it gives them a lot of data as to what time of the day, what do people use, and that way they can regulate their shall we say the advertisements in a way so that the reach is maximum. Obviously, when I'm opening the fridge, it is likely that I'm taking out food because I want to warm it, or maybe I'm taking out something cold. It could be cold water, it could be juices, whatever, cold milk, because I want to have something cold. So this is something they know. Maybe just at the time when almost every day people like me open their refrigerators, we will get ads from some juice company, Tropicana. ये Tropicana का ठंडा जूस है, या Pepsi का cold drink है, or maybe some beer company, maybe some energy drink company. You know, the idea being that at that time of the day I drink something cold every day, right? So lot of privacy issues, of course, which can be with this. Yes, yes, that is correct. Rabat, Al Rabat is the capital of Morocco. It is in North Africa. You are right about Africa, but it's better you say North Africa. ठीक है? Both Sudan and Morocco are located in the north. Sudan used to be Africa's biggest country, but now its size has been reduced thanks to the creation of South Sudan. You must be aware there is another country called South Sudan. Right. Continuing further, let me move on. Now there is a NASA program called the Artemis program. Have you guys heard of the Apollo program? So Apollo and Artemis, they were related as per Greek mythology. So Apollo program, there were lots of Apollo missions. That of course is done, but now it is time for the Artemis program. So Artemis program, they are trying to go beyond the moon. Manned mission till the moon. Of course, that means human beings, but maybe beyond that, if human beings can reach. So obviously, you need 18 of the best astronauts the NASA has selected. One of them is of Indian origin. You can check out his name. राजा जॉन वुरपुतूर चारी. ठीक है. स्वास्तिक, अक्षय, अभिषेक, all of you. Right, I'll continue then. Now there is Mr. Ashraf Patel. He has won this award. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Schwab Foundation. So Schwab Foundation is named after the founder of the international of the World Economic Forum, Mr. Klaus Schwab. I think I took a session few days back where I spoke about the World Economic Forum. So Klaus Schwab is the founder of the World Economic Forum, and Schwab Foundation is obviously named after him. There is also a very famous pharmaceutical company. It's a homeopathic pharma company called the Schwab. Dr. Schwab. That's another group which is related. Again, not completely related though. So the Schwab Foundation, and there's also the Jubilant Bharatiya Foundation. They have together provided this award to Ashraf Patel. Why? Because he's the co-founder of two social initiatives. One is Prava, the other is Com Mutiny Youth Collective. That's a play on the word community. Com Mutiny Youth Collective. These two. You may note this down. Right? If you want, you can write down his name, Klaus Schwab. He's a German founder of the World Economic Forum. Right? This is our WhatsApp number. You can also WhatsApp us on this particular number as mentioned here. Right, let's continue with it further. Some more miscellaneous content. Right, so this is really important for the first time in India's history. This is very very important. I would say please mark a star. कोई भी चीज मैं highlight कर रहा हूँ उसको please आप अलग से लिख लीजिए. So workplace equality index, इस पे काफी सवाल आ सकता है, especially if there's anybody who's also going for law. तो इंडिया में पहली बार it has been rolled out ताकि employers अपना progress check कर पाए on how inclusive are the workplaces. There is a lot of pressure now on inclusive workplaces. Even a country as democratic or as gender neutral as the USA, only 7% people of the CEOs in last year's Fortune 500 company were women. So out of 500 companies which are the most valuable, Fortune 500 only for US, I'm saying, only 35 odd were women. So that just shows so that is about gender. There's also regarding the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. So all of that needs to be looked after as well. This is being curated by an activist. He's also hotelier, Shri Keshav Suri. He is curating this along with FICCI, Stonewall UK, and the Pride Circle. Stonewall is a UK based research firm. Pride Circle is a global NGO. FICCI, is an Indian peer based body. I have discussed with you guys on FICCI earlier. I told you, explained to you the role of FICCI, ASSOCHAM, and CII. Right, let's move ahead further. Okay, meanwhile, the UNESCO, we had also discussed in detail about the UNESCO in one of the previous classes. Um, so, this country has come up with an international prize in the field of creative economy. Is named after Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Uh, he was just like Mahatma Gandhi is the father of the nation in India. Similarly, he's the father of the nation in Bangladesh. He was a very important freedom fighter. You know, earlier Bangladesh was East Pakistan. It was part of Pakistan, but in terms of the language, the Bengali language was not being given equal status to Urdu, which was comparatively spoken more of in the West Pakistan. I say comparative because even in the West, Punjabi is the most spoken language, followed by Pashtun. Third is probably Sindhi or Urdu. So it's actually Urdu is as a first language spoken by very few people in less than 10% of Pakistan's population, right? So, but anyway, the speakers are more on the West. Plus, Punjabi is relatively more similar to Urdu than is Bengali, right? So the Punjabi is spoken in that on that side of the border for sure. So anyway, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the leading freedom fighter in this for the equal rights to the Bengali language, which is why he is so highly recognized worldwide. You know, the Bhasha Andolan Divas or International Language Day is also named after Bangladesh's or East Pakistan's movement. Right. So now I want to move away from Bangladesh to Cuba. That is the beauty of current affairs classes. We can flip geography so easily. So move from Bangladesh to completely the other side of the continent. The country of Cuba. It is a communist country, and they have come up with some reforms in their currency. When I say Cuba, what is it that comes to your mind first? Like, what are the things that Cuba is famous for or infamous for? Right, right, Swastik. Yes, Abhishek, definitely. Very good to be in the hotel business. Bongo Bondhu, that's correct, Swastik. That was his nickname. So when I say Cuba, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? I can see somebody has joined the Gradeup app as well for the session. So hi to you as well. So मेरे माइंड में दो तीन चीजें आती है तीन चार चीजें It's actually quite a unique nation in many ways. I would say it's one nation which has taken on the United States head on and been fairly successful, at least in some ways. And you may be surprised, maybe even economy. When I think of communism, I think of some basket cases like North Korea. But communism has also shown up a few success stories. Cuba, at least in the recent past, has been comparatively a success story. Its medical facilities are considered world class compared to its much richer neighbor USA, which has a crumbling healthcare segment, and that is going worse and worse. Cuba, on the other hand, had far fewer problems last year when neighboring USA was suffering so much from COVID-19. Also, Cuba has in fact recently created a vaccine as well. This might surprise a lot of you, but Cuba is probably one of the few developing countries. I think India, of course, is developing, but we are much bigger in size. But Cuba, in spite of being a small developing country, has created a vaccine of its own, which some countries are buying. In fact, South Africa had started buying. I think even Russia has taken some doses. So you know that is the thing. Cuba very good in sports. If you see the Olympics, they have slightly declined, but in the 1990s and early 2000s, they would always finish in the top 10 because sports like boxing, volleyball, wrestling, weightlifting, some part of athletics, they were really good. Baseball, another sport. Baseball is such a quintessential American way of life. Cuba, in spite of being a Latin American Spanish speaking country, never took interest in football. I mean, their football team is rarely even qualifies for the continental competition. Forget the World Cup. But when it comes to baseball, which is such an American sport, because as I said, they wanted to take on USA on its own. So that is why in baseball, they have a very good team. They regularly defeat the USA, the mighty USA. Yeah, so those are a couple of things. Of course, Cuba very famous or infamous, you could say, for its cigar, and equally famous or infamous for its rum. It's considered the country to have one of the best rums, and of course, it is also the sugar bowl of the world. That's right. That's correct, Swastik. Yes, Che Guevara. I don't think Che Guevara was Cuban. I think he was Argentinian, but yes, a lot of his movement was in Cuba. Fidel Castro, and of course his brother Raul. Havana is the capital, and of course you're right. It is the sugar bowl of the world. So Cuba also has done some reforms in its currency structure. It was a unique nation in the sense it had a dual currency system, but now it has only a single currency. The indigenous Cuban peso will remain, but there was an international currency which was pegged at the same rate as the US dollar. So whatever way the US dollar would move, that currency would move in the same way. So this was done because obviously US's hegemonic economic power over the Central American, entire American belt. So that was done, but that is no longer needed. That's what Cuba feels, that a lot of its investments went down because of this thing. So now they've discontinued with that. Miguel Diaz Canel is now the president of Cuba, the first non Castro, the Castro family, Fidel initially, then his brother Raul, they had been the presidents of Cuba for a long time. But Raul Castro was president till 2018. After that, he wasn't president, but he was controlling from behind because he held the position as head of the Communist Party. It's a one party system in Cuba. So, after 6 decades of power concentration with the Castro family, that has finally ended. Right? Let's move on. I think one of Salman Khan and Katrina's films, Ek Tha Tiger, huge hit. I think that was shot quite a bit in Cuba, mostly in Cuba, right? It's visa on arrival as well for Indians, right? Anyway, let's move ahead. Okay, now I think you are all aware it's Covaxin, which is India's indigenous drug. There's also Zydus Cadila, which has come up with Zycov D. That is also an option. I'll write that down as well. Zycov uh, D by Zydus Cadila. Okay, so this is also there in the process, but it hasn't been fully approved. It is going through tests. The other one is Covaxin by Bharat Biotech, and it is India's first indigenous mRNA vaccine. mRNA is the technique which has also been applied by AstraZeneca. Okay, so there are two different ways of vaccine, couple of different methods of vaccine production. Pfizer and Moderna systems they rely slightly on different technology. This mRNA is also by, as I said, AstraZeneca. They also follow. AstraZeneca is the one which is produced Covishield, which is being mass produced in Pune. Was being mass produced. I believe there has been some shortage in production lately. Right. So Lakshadweep has become the first union territory of India to become 100% organic because all farming is now being carried out without the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. And this is part of this scheme. You may take a look at this. It's called the Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. Another Sarkari scheme. The idea is to reduce the use of um, insecticides, pesticides, fertilizers, also to have more managed use of groundwater usage. Right, I'll move ahead. Now, I want to talk about something called the Ramanujan Prize. There are actually two Ramanujan Prizes given, but I don't want you to be confused about those two. So, let's understand this a bit. It's awarded by the ICTP, which stands for the International Center for Theoretical Physics. It's an international prize, but named after the great Indian mathematician Ramanujan. ठीक है. So this year's winner is somebody from Brazil, a woman. Her name is Caroline Araujo, and she's connected to this institute IMPA, which stands for Institute for Pure and Applied Mathematics, Brazil based. That's correct. That's correct. I'm very happy you've mentioned these points about Lakshadweep. It's vastly Muslim majority. Kavaratti is the capital and famous for its coral reefs. It's also famous for an elephant which swims on salt water. You know that there is a famous elephant. Everybody, whoever travels to Lakshadweep, wants to swim with that elephant. Generally elephants are obviously freshwater. They are land animals who are comfortable on fresh water, but not on the ocean. But this elephant swims like very comfortably on the ocean. So, island to island hopping is something I'm forgetting its name, but quite a famous jumbo. Anyway, so there's another Ramanujan Prize, as I said, that is by Sastra. Please do not be confused between the two. Sastra stands for Shanmuga Art, Science, Technology, and Research Academy. सो वो एक इंडियन डोमेस्टिक प्राइज है, प्लीज उससे आप कंफ्यूज मत होना। ठीक है, तो इंटरनेशनल वाला ये देते हैं, इंडियन वाला ये बॉडी देता है। एंड दिस इज द बॉडी फ्रॉम विच कैरोलिन हैज स्टडीड फ्रॉम, कैरोलिन इज एसोसिएटेड विथ। Right, let's continue. Today's session was supposed to be 10:30 to 12, but yeah, the session started 15 minutes later due to some tech issues. But I'll need to finish by 12 because there's another session of another trainer at 12. In fact, slightly earlier than 12, I should finish ideally. Anyway, let me see how quick I can. Now, some more miscellaneous content. You know the format. So Sri Raj Kamal Jha, he has won the Rabindranath Tagore Literary Prize for 2020, and the book is called City and the Sea. The City and the Sea. Right, Abhishek? Abhishek, you was talking about your hotel background. So again, this is something Lakshadweep is obviously really upcoming when it comes to tourism. Although very different to Andaman in the sense it's much more fragile, so more sustainable measures are needed. Meanwhile, India and Bangladesh, these are two South Asian countries that have streets named as Swadhinata Sadak because the two countries fought together for their independence, obviously, because Bangladesh was part of United India when we separated from the British rule. And of course, later when Bangladesh separated from Pakistan, India obviously helped Bangladesh immensely. India did do the entire fighting, so that was pretty much the thing. Meanwhile, moving on from freedom movements to rap music. So Divine, he's become the first Indian rapper to be featured on a billboard in Times Square, which is in NYC. NYC का मतलब है New York City. So Times Square is considered one of the most cosmopolitan streets on the world. Things might have changed a bit in the last 18 odd months, 15 odd months, but generally speaking, it was a center for all kinds of different nationalities. It is said that if you roam through Times Square, you'll see every ethnicity on the planet. So वहाँ पे बिलबोर्ड मतलब सड़क के sides में you obviously have these billboards. उसमें feature होना is a massive thing, of course. Right. Okay. So now I want to talk about an MOU which was signed. MOU का मतलब है Memorandum of Understanding. This was signed by the NMCG, which I'll tell you what NMCG is. But at this point, please understand the NIBR, or the Norwegian Institute of Bioeconomy Research, which is funded by Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund. They have signed an MOU with Sea Ganga. It is a think tank under the government scheme called NMCG. This is to develop the sludge management framework in India. Sludge matlab solid waste which gets trapped within the liquid waste. Liquid जो घरों से या इंडस्ट्री से निकलता है उसमें obviously over a period of time काफी solid waste भी भर जाता है, तो ये उस चीज के लिए है। अब ये सी गंगा है क्या चीज, एक बार देख लीजिए। ये एक रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट है called the Center for Ganga River Management and Studies. And NMCG, please note down the full form, National Mission for the Clean Ganga. गंगा क्लीनिंग का काम करता है ऑब्वियसली। ठीक है, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं अगले वाले पे। एज आई सेड आई नीड टू बी बिट क्विक, डू टेक डाउन नोट्स। आई होप यू गाइज आर राइटिंग द पॉइंट्स। जहां जहां मैं बोल रहा हूं इंपॉर्टेंट है उसको प्लीज आप लिख लीजिए, नॉट जस्ट टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट। आई वांट यू टू प्रॉपर्ली राइट इट बिकॉज that should be important. Right, so Himgiri is actually first of the three Project 17A ships. It is being built at Kolkata's Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, GRESE. Kolkata is not on the ocean, it is a river port. It is on the Hooghly River. It's about 100 kilometers away from the ocean, from the Bay of Bengal, where Holdia is the main port. There's also Diamond Harbor near Holdia, of course. So it made her first contact with the waters of the Hooghly River. ठीक है. So this is a massive ship being built, but on a river. So that is where things are unique. The total 7 ships which will be built under this scheme, under the project 17A, and उसमें से the rest 4 will be created in Mazgaon, which is in Maharashtra. Right, Mazgaon is one of the ports. It's in Mumbai actually. Part of it. Okay. Now, Sri Siddharth Chatterjee, he is again an Indian. Whenever an Indian is appointed to some senior post, it gets important for us. So, the UN Secretary General, we've all heard of him, Mr. Antonio Gutierrez. He has appointed Mr. Chatterjee as the resident coordinator for China, UN's resident coordinator. That is interesting considering the strained relations between the two countries last year. In spite of that, the UN went out to recruit him in that post. That is truly significant and interesting. The UN obviously seems to want better relations in the future between these two regional giants. राइट नाउ दिस इज समथिंग अभिषेक तुम्हारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि ये भी टूरिज्म रिलेटेड है. बिफोर आई डू दिस क्वेश्चन, कैन somebody explain to me this term loyalty card? This is something very popularly used in tourism, but also used in aviation, in retail. A lot of these supermarkets, they use loyalty cards. So can somebody tell me what exactly is a loyalty card? This is the first loyalty card which is for a country. Waiting for your answer, because once you answer what is a loyalty card, only then I can proceed ahead. I'll prefer if Abhishek answers, but Swastik, even you may answer this, and so can the others. Okay, good. Given to employees for some kind of benefits, not to employees, I'm afraid, Swastik. This is given to customers. So, whenever a customer is happy with you and they have bought enough number of stuff from you, you provide them with a loyalty card. The idea being that you can always use it. So, next time you use a loyalty card, you receive a certain discount. आज मैंने 10,000 का शॉपिंग किया तो फिर मैंने लॉयल्टी कार्ड बना लिया. अगली बार आऊंगा, मैंने 5,000 का शॉपिंग किया लेकिन उसमें से मुझे 10% ऑफ मिलेगा, और ये मैं बहुत बारी करूं ऐसे ट्रेंड्स, तो उसके बाद 10% विल बिकम 15% या 20%, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. इट कुड कीप राइजिंग डिपेंडिंग ऑन द लेवल. दैट्स द एग्जैक्ट मॉडल दैट ऑल क्रेडिट कार्ड कंपनीज फॉलो एज वेल. Right, so the island nation of Maldives has launched the first loyalty program for a country, and this is where tourism is one of the major industries. It is known as the Maldives Border Miles, and it is divided into 3 tiers based on usage: gold, silver, and bronze. These terms are mentioned in the local language, which is Dhivehi, which is the official language of this country. That's correct. CTC, matlab cost to company. That is correct, Swastik. Yes, yes, that's correct, Abhishek. Encouraging the customer to shop or to buy whatever other products. Right, let's move on further then. Okay, now December current affairs, more of miscellaneous content. Now, this is very important. I would ask all of you guys to please राइट दिस डाउन. इसको प्लीज स्टार मार्क कीजिए. बेसिकली अगर मैं थोड़ा सा आपको इंट्रोडक्शन दूं, हमारे देश में पोस्ट ऑफिसेज बहुत है. एक एक नुक्कड़ गली में, नुक्कड़ गली शायद नहीं, बट एक एक छोटे शहर में, इवन गांव में post office hai, and they occupy a lot of space, but unfortunately in today's world they are not being used as much as they should be. I mean, they are used because in remote areas you still send a lot of money and other means through the post office system. But one of the drawbacks is that because of modern technology and digitization, uh, they are not being used much. So not being used, see, technology change hota hai, things get redundant or they stop getting used. That's a fair point, nothing too dramatic about that. But what the problem here is that they occupy a lot of space and infrastructure, and there are lots of people employed with it, because every year when we take up these UPSC exams, we also have a post Indian postal service, तो उसमें भी बहुत लोग recruit होते हैं. तो this is becoming a white elephant, you know. White elephant आप समझते हो, जिसपे बहुत खर्चा करके बनाया, मेंटेनेंस चार्ज बहुत है, बट एक्चुअल यूसेज एंड रिजल्ट उतना नहीं हो रहा. तो द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया इज ट्राइंग हार्ड टू रिवाइव द पोस्टल सिस्टम somehow or the other. This is one of those methods. So इस डाक पे को प्लीज हाईलाइट कीजिए, बहुत ही जरूरी चीज है. तो डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पोस्ट एंड ऑल्सो द इंडियन पोस्ट पेमेंट्स बैंक एक बैंक है, एक फुल फ्लेज बैंक है, जो कि पोस्ट ऑफिस से ऑपरेट होता है. इन्होंने एक नया डिजिटल एप्लीकेशन चालू किया है. ये डिजिटल एप्लीकेशन है, जस्ट लाइक पेटीएम, गूगल पे, etc. We also have Duck Pay. It's part of the ongoing efforts to digital improve the financial inclusion in the country. सो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट थी. इनफैक्ट मैं बोलूंगा अगले दो पॉइंट्स भी दे आर एक्चुअली रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर, वो भी बहुत जरूरी है. तो आप इस पूरे स्लाइड को बहुत ही ध्यान से करना. इंडिया का पहला आर्बिट्रेशन एंड मीडिएशन सेंटर चालू हो रहा है, विच विल बी डेडिकेटेड टू डिस्प्यूट्स रिलेटिंग टू द शिपिंग सेक्टर. दिस इज कमिंग अप इन गांधीनगर, गुजरात. There are similar clusters in other parts of the world as well, as you can see. In places like Oslo, Shanghai, Rotterdam, London, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Oslo, of course, capital of Oslo is the capital of which country? Can somebody tell me? Shanghai, you all know, is in China. London, Singapore, and Hong Kong are well known. Also, tell me for Rotterdam. So, tell me Oslo is the capital of which country, and tell me in which country is Rotterdam. Rotterdam is not the capital, but it's one of the major shipping hubs of that country, of the world for that matter, the whole continent. Okay, any questions on the dark pay thing? Do let me know. Also, if you understood the arbitration center, it will also have international cases where India is related. Okay, I'm waiting for your answer. Do let me know. In the meanwhile, let me just proceed ahead to the next point. Right. So I want to talk about HDI, जिसमें unfortunately, embarrassingly, our rank has not really improved much over a period of time. HDI stands for Human Development Index, and it's published by the UNDP, which stands for the United Nations Development Program. I've got another slide where I'll talk about the UNDP. मैंने पहले भी बोला है, रैंकिंग्स में तीन चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट होती है: किसने पब्लिश किया है, रैंक वन किसका है, और हमारा भारत का रैंक क्या है. तो देखिए जरा, भारत का रैंक है 131. 2 years back we were 129th, we slid to 131st. This year we remain at 131st. Rank one is Norway, and I've also told you small developed countries tend to do very well. So Norway pretty much comfortably sits on top, as most of the years. Rotterdam city is in the Netherlands, very good. It's twin city to Amsterdam. Oslo is the capital of Norway. Absolutely correct, guys. Very happy to see your answers. I also wanted to tell you about a government scheme called the Aspirational Districts Program. Aspirational Districts Program. So this has been started primarily to improve on the rankings at HDI. Now, what is UNDP? Let us understand. It's the United Nations Development Program, founded in 1965, and it's based out of New York City in the state of New York. The headquarters of the UN are in a in a nearby complex in New York City as well. And the administrative head right now. So in some bodies you have Secretary General, some you have Director General. Here you have the head administrator. He is of German origin, but he's a citizen of Brazil. So I've written Brazil. His name is Achim Steiner. Not sure how his name is pronounced, I'm afraid. Having seen a lot of German football, I think it should be Achim Steiner, but I could be wrong. Just another 7-8 slides of content, and then we go towards the grade up material. Do helping guys with likes and shares अपने दोस्तों के साथ. Right, let's understand the Golden Peacock Award. ठीक है. अच्छा, गोल्डन पीकॉक दो अवार्ड्स है, सो स्टूडेंट्स कुड बी कंफ्यूज्ड कि मैं कौन से वाले की बात कर रहा हूँ. दूसरा जो गोल्डन पीकॉक है हम उस पर बाद में चर्चा करेंगे, बट अभी मैं जो बात कर रहा हूँ ये एक कॉर्पोरेट अवार्ड है, मेनली फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड रिलेटेड टू द एनवायरमेंटल सेक्टर. ठीक है. So let's move ahead. So SAIL, which is the Steel Authority of India Limited, it's a government PSU. It's a Maharatna company. So among all PSUs, you've got the category Navaratna. Navaratna is like the top companies. Maharatna is even higher. So only 4 or 5 companies are in the Maharatna category. That's followed by Navaratna, and below that you have the Mini Ratnas. Mini Ratnas में levels है 1, 2, 3, etc. So SAIL को ये award मिला है Golden Peacock Environment Management Award. This is for the steel sector, and this award is presented by the IOD, which stands for the Institute of Directors. So as I said, there is another award. This is pronounced at the IIFF. Please इन दोनों में confuse मत होइए, ये दो अलग awards है. नाम सेम है. जस्ट लाइक वी हैव इंटरनेशनल फिल्म अवार्ड, फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स, जैसे गोल्डन लायन दिया जाता है, गोल्डन बॉल दिया जाता है, पाम डियोर कहीं पे. सो गोल्डन पाम आई थिंक एट कान, गोल्डन लायन आई थिंक एट बर्लिन. तो सिमिलरली we have the Golden Peacock Award, which is presented at the India International Film Festival. It was last held in Goa, but last year it was completely digital. India International Film Festival. Right there. Do let me know if there are any queries. All right, let's continue ahead. Let's see who are the highest paid celebrities of 2020. This is awarded by the Forbes magazine, which is what makes this so reliable, because obviously Forbes magazine is highly respected. 2020 rank holder is Kylie Jenner. She's from the USA, and her estimated income last year was a staggering $590 million. The rank 2 is actually the highest ranked male. Both are Americans. Both rank 1 and 2 are Americans. He's Kanye West, whose name had cropped up a couple of months back when he semi-jokingly, he wasn't completely joking, had nominated himself for the US president's post. In fact, in US, anybody can stand up. So he was looking for a ticket from the Democrat Party. I guess in the end, it did not materialize. Sorry for him. But maybe next time in 2024, I don't know what happened. He can once again reach that level. Right, the highest ranked Indian, in fact, the only Indian in the top 100 is Mr. Akshay Kumar, whose rank stood at 52nd. Akshay Kumar, one of my favorite actors, of course. The Rock is Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson won it for the overall in the other category. This is overall among all celebrities. Among actors, you are right, Abhishek. In fact, I had done that question. Among actors, you are right. The Rock Dwayne Johnson is rank 1. Right. So let's move on. Is there any more Akshay Kumar fans? Do raise a toast for him. I'm a big fan of Akshay Kumar and his acting, all kinds of roles that he does. Personally, a big fan. Anyway, so I now want to talk about two personalities. The next couple of slides, I will be focusing on two personalities who were a lot in the news for a couple of months, not just in December, but they have been in the news for a while. So I thought let me cover something on them. So one is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the other is Alexei Navalny, who still remains a lot in the news. Her story has sort of died out, but still remains extremely critical a person. Now, she was an American lawyer. She served at the Supreme Court until her death in September 2020. She was a vociferous, a vocal vocal proponent of several ideas, was considered a liberal if I look at the political cultural angle. Uh, so she had liberal political views, which made her a minority in the Supreme Court. While Donald Trump was the president, she was one of the last remaining liberals in the among the top judges of the Supreme Court, which is what made her a bit unpopular, if I may say, with the Trump administration. Now, some of you may not understand these terms liberal very well. I will explain those terms in some time. So she campaigned heavily for gender rights and women's equality, right? So she was succeeded by Amy Coney Barrett, who is a conservative. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she's a Jew. She was extremely insistent that until the USA has a new president or whoever is the president, but the election should be conducted. If Trump retains his presidency, fair enough, fair play to him. But if he doesn't, whoever is the new president, it is only after the presidency is decided that she should be her successor should be named. She knew she was dying. This was one of her last wishes on the deathbed. This was not honored by the Trump administration, who named Amy Coney Barrett while Trump remained the president. Right. So some of you, as I said, might often have confusion about these wings. WhatsApp यूनिवर्सिटी में हम बहुत सुनते हैं about right wing left wing. ये terms होते क्या है थोड़ा सा समझते हैं. So there are two terms. There is a political wing, there's an economic wing. Economic right are the people who believe in capitalism, in free markets, in open competition. Right, right. Very good, Abhishek. Welcome to the club. Do let me know some of your favorite Akshay Kumar films. For me, most of them are in the comedy genre. Right. So, as I said, economic right is who support open competition. They support internationalism. They support full open international trade. The economic left supports communism, closed markets. Communism believes that open competition is extremely unfair to the majority of the world's population because a lot of them do not have the same opportunities, which is why communism should be government should control everything. All the factors of production are dictated by welfare purposes, which the central government decides. There can be no scope for profit and loss or for demand and supply. Capitalism believes all manufacturing and services should be on the basis of profit and loss, right? So that is economic right and economic left. Political right believes in nationalism and conservatism. It is sort of majoritarianism, which prefers the majority community. It does not overtly say anything against the minorities, but it does state that the majority community should have the right within their own country to have a certain leverage. Political left is talks about liberalism, and they talk about open markets and the fact that religion and language and other ethnic issues should not be given too much credence. They believe in secularism, which believes that all religions are equal and that the state need not play any role in religion. The state and the religion should be completely separate parts. Now, what is good or what is bad, I don't want to discuss that. That is purely subjective. Everything has its flaws, everything has its pros. So, I just wanted to explain to you the definitions. Also, please understand, if your economic right does not mean you will be political right, there is no relation. One person could be economic and political left, economic right and political left. A very good example is Angela Merkel, a proponent of capitalism and free markets, but somebody who was also extremely secular. Trump's government, I would say, was right wing in both ways. In terms of capital, they were supporters of capitalism. They were also supporters of nationalism. So that way, they were pretty much right wing on both these counts. But there are a lot of exceptions as well. Okay, okay, okay. Support in what sense? Rustam is my favorite movie. Right, right, Abhishek. Very good to see that. I have seen a bit. Yes, Smita. Good evening. Good morning. Sorry. Uh, Good to have you here, Smita. Right, right. I haven't read the Nanavati case, but I'll be very happy to read it. There was an earlier movie similar to Rustam as well. I think sometime in the 1970s or something. Right? Okay. So now I want to talk about Alexei Navalny. So some of you may have been hearing about him. He's been a lot in the news lately. He's the key opposition leader to Vladimir Putin in Russia. Campaigned vociferously. He has been campaigning for more than a decade, stating that Russia isn't really a democracy. It's become a sort of a kangaroo democracy where on paper they do have elections, but actually everything is rigged in favor of Putin. And so Putin will remain the president for another 15 years as per constitutional reforms made in July. I'm putting it under quotation, single quotes, because obviously most people may not consider that as reforms. So it's a debatable word to be used in this case. Generally, we use the term reforms when it is improvements, but obviously Navalny and his supporters do not think so. In August, Navalny suffered heavily from food poisoning, and so he was shifted almost secretly, covertly to Berlin in Germany for recovery and subsequent recuperation. His wife accused Putin and his team for food poisoning him during a flight, stating that it was an attempt to murder him. A lot of Western countries seem to support the idea which Mrs. Navalny gave, and they actually sort of spoke against the Putin government. So yeah, so these countries such as USA, UK, Canada, and Germany, of course, were the hosts, and also France. They all spoke against Putin during this period, stating that Russia's democracy isn't really a proper one. Right? Okay. So he's now returned to Moscow. He knew before landing that the moment he lands in Moscow, due to certain charges, cooked up charges, some would say, he would definitely be imprisoned. He's now suffering. He's barely alive in the sense that he's suffering, is struggling to be alive. He's in a hospital which is connected to a prison, so it's a jail hospital. The charges officially latched on him are violating probation. He was out of prison on parole, on probation, and at that time he violated that by traveling to Germany, which he wasn't supposed to do. Right, so I'm pretty much done with today's content. I've been reasonably quick because of the fact that there's another class immediately after me. But I'll keep the session open for a couple of minutes. You guys may discuss whatever you want with me. नीचे phone number दिया हुआ है. Pick up your phone call us up. We shall be happy to support you. Right, so there are batch enrollments which are on right now for BBA and HM 2020-21. So do attend the crash course for the various entrance examinations. These are some of our trainers here. Do spread the word, guys. And there's one more number I've shared on the right hand side of the page. You may call us at either of these two numbers. Yes, yes, that's correct, Swastik. Smita, do let me know if there's something you wish to ask. राइट मूविंग अहेड ग्रेड अप का टैगलाइन सही प्रेप है तो लाइफ सेट है आप हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पे प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए मेनी ऑफ यू हैव ऑलरेडी अटेंडेड माय सेशन ऑन यूट्यूब डू प्रेस द बेल आइकॉन you will receive notifications for all videos. I wanted to inform you something today at 1 p.m. I'm going to conduct a quiz for all the students. This will be based on October current affairs. October current affairs I've already done with you guys, already covered. So nothing completely new, but in case you guys have prepared, it will be a very good revision for you, and of course you can test yourselves. So see you all at 1 p.m. For the quiz. Meanwhile, you may join our Telegram channel as well for further discussions. The details are mentioned in the description below. Service aptitude, Abhishek, I've already taken one class where I basically described the whole thing. So you can basically take a look and get back to me. आप मेरे नाम से सर्च कीजिए, मेरा नाम सर्च कीजिए, उसके सामने डालिए सर्विस एप्टीट्यूड, मेरा नाम सामने ग्रेड अप, उसके सामने डालिए सर्विस एप्टीट्यूड. You will receive the session for the same. And finally, to mention you guys, we are also present on the Google Play Store. So that is a truly exciting thing. ठीक है, आप इसका ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए. You can then practice topic wise quizzes and of course keep attending the live classes. I'll keep it open for a moment in case you guys have any questions, and then I shall wrap it up. Do not miss my 1 p.m. class, which will be a quiz. ठीक है. I think you guys are done. We can wrap up for the moment. Thank you so much, guys. See you all in about a little over an hour. 1 hour, 15 minutes may we shall all meet here once again. So see you all. Have a nice day.